that isn't gaming related as such in this episode, but rather something that I feel could out benefit Netflix games in the future. Now, what is this? Now, obviously, for those who don't know, Netflix games has been obviously a huge thing, but another sort of huge outlet when it comes to entertainment for Netflix has been anime. Now, anime has obviously grown hugely in the last few decades. It's widely popular now and it's widely available thanks to companies like Netflix and Funimation. But Netflix doesn't really produce its own anime as such. Well, I say that. They've made an anime based on Super Crooks, which is a Millarworld comic series they own. They also are working on an anime based on Stranger Things called Stranger Things in 1984. And besides them, obviously, there's not really much that Netflix really owns when it comes to anime, as many of the animes are obviously licensed from third parties, but Netflix's global distribution for them as Netflix originals. Now, why does this matter? Well, to me, it doesn't. But I do feel like Netflix is in a point where they need to focus on some anime. Now, basically, for those who don't know, Netflix has obviously been on a sort of mini acquisition spree over the last few years. They've bought quite a few different companies, being like a Roald Dahl story company. You know, they bought Night School Studios, Spry Fox, Boss Fight Entertainment, Next Games. They bought Animal Logic, and they bought Scanline VFX. Now, many of you probably don't know what many of these companies are. They are game studios, animation studios, and a visual effects company, as well as the rights to Roald Dahl. I made a video in the past saying about Netflix should buy Dr. Seuss Enterprises as well to help expand its publishing division. But let me bring this one up right now. I feel like if Netflix is to buy an anime studio, they will go for a studio like Kyoto Animation. Reason being, Netflix, for those who don't know, Netflix originals, nothing necessarily defines the brand with a Netflix original. A Netflix original can be basically anything. You know, Netflix has made originals from all genres, and they haven't really bothered to focus on one sort of niche. They focused on, hey, we're going to do, you know, adult animation. And with adult animation, they've done like BoJack Horseman, Q Force, you know, Paradise City comedies, these like dark comedies, all sorts. You know, they've got they've got titles like Stranger Things. Then they've also got stuff like Babysitter Killer Queen. They've got a huge variety of genres and IP. But anime and Netflix has obviously mostly licensed. But let's here, right? If Netflix got into anime, a company like Kyoto Animation or Studio Ghibli or Toei or something like that would be huge for them. But then you've got to consider, you know, the growth of those IPs, the growth of those films, the growth of those series, and whether or not it would benefit Netflix in the long run. Now, to me, I do feel like Netflix would benefit from getting a company like Kyoto Animation, because Kyoto Animation, for those you know, they've made films like A Silent Voice, you know, and K-On, which may not be major names in a lot of ways, but people know these films and they are actually quite beloved. They are quite iconic, and they also do push sort of they're, they're films that obviously won awards. They're beautiful films, beautifully animated, and they start dialogue within certain niches and certain communities online about certain topics. Like A Silent Voice started obviously a whole thing online in 2016 about, you know, disability representation in media. Is it fair? You know, is and whatnot. And Netflix logically could grab a studio like Kyoto Animation and then sort of steer those conversations, be like make themselves look good. You know, I know that's kind of bad me saying that. Oh, Netflix should buy up a studio like Kyoto Animation to make themselves look good. But also, you got to realize Kyoto Animation had a fire in 2019. They're still not working at their full capacity. And with them obviously having exclusive rights to Netflix IPs, like, well, not Netflix IPs, but like they have exclusive distribution in countries like the UK for things like the Violet Evergarden movies, which were made by Kyoto Animation. Now, to me, would Netflix obviously make such a deal? I think a deal is likely. I feel like Netflix may try and make an offer to Kyoto Animation, depending on how well the films have performed for them, and the fact they could then have their own exclusive animes that they would actually own and be able to stop from ever having to leave the platform. However, the issue I see with this is obviously Netflix would have to obviously take on this new studio, take on the culture of a studio, and would the Japanese public be happy with the deal? Would people be like, oh no, Netflix is going to ruin it? Because we all know that Netflix hasn't really had the best uh, history when it comes to adapting anime into live action. Just look at, what was it, a Cowboy Bebop. That show was terrible compared to its original. So people may be a little bit hesitant for Netflix to do such a thing. However, I do feel like someone like Kyoto Animation, if Netflix just gave them the funding and handled distribution, could hugely benefit from this sort of deal, and everyone will sort of win. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think Netflix will buy Kyoto Animation? Do you think Netflix will buy another anime studio? You know, if so, name the studio in the comments down below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, turn notifications. I've been Ethan Netflix Gamer, and I'm signing out. Peace.